Hello, trading has closed on the 7th of March, 2024. We always do our disclaimer, go over the calls, and then make some predictions. This is my trading plan for tomorrow, which is March the 8th, 2024. Please remember, my calls can be wrong. Trade at your own risk. Somebody sent me a thank you note, which I got on my phone, and I just couldn't figure out how to answer it. So I'm probably the only person in the computer age who couldn't figure it out, but so I'll just have to acknowledge the thanks here and say you're welcome. Look for the pattern with the early high, that's this. We had a target of 51.2663. That printed, and there was a support area as well as a target. This is just a reminder of what we said. We're also going to remind you that tomorrow is Chris Carolan's date. He has a system for picking dates. It's a date on which a change in trend can occur. If there is this date and there is a change in trend, the larger the number, the bigger the change. So if it works, it should be a significant drop, because F23, that's a lot of numbers. But we're going to need more than just a date, because if it's going to be a significant drop, it should be one of his dates. But if it's one of his dates, it doesn't mean it's a significant drop. It's just one of the things where you have to see if everything else fits into place. Well, during the day, we had this usually bullish pattern. We gapped up higher. This was higher in the afternoon. We kept rallying. Normally, that's a bullish pattern. It rallies into the close. MEJT said, no way. Jose said it wasn't for keeps and was going to retrace, which it did. Now, this pattern either rallies into the close or drops in a straight line. Either one of those things happen. So tomorrow's open can substitute for today's close. So either we gap and promptly take out this high, or we have a straight line drop. And I do not like a number of things about this pattern. Gapped up, hit higher highs, closed under the midday high, means the last few hours, the normally bullish last few hours, accomplished nothing. In addition to being Carolan's date, today's date, his date's tomorrow. Today's date is a direct hit on the date of a friend of mine. Again, if the date's hit, doesn't mean you'll change, but if there is a change, it's usually one of those dates. And then there's George Lindsay. I think he was back when I was just a little kid. He came out with this low to high pattern. So if you measure from today and you go to this low, that low, a minor low but a significant one, and you keep going back, you get a direct hit on this low. I mean, that's Lindsay's low to high, right on the nose. Now, just because it hits, it doesn't mean it works. It does mean it's one of the times where you should look for a minor high. That's a major low. That's a minor low. Certainly the time is right for a significant high. I've had to redo my wave count, but it wasn't all that hard because these waves, measuring from the October low, still have good fibs. And let's look at this last wave up, the wave 5 up. I mean, if we call this wave 3, you can see wave 1 is a perfect 61.8%, and wave 5 that's close enough for me at 38.2. So you've got all you need if we drop. I mean, if we keep going up, all this stuff falls apart, and we should know that pretty soon, at or even before the open. We gap up and keep going away. All this resistance and time and price, that's been overcome. Off to the races again. But if there's a negative response to the non-farm payroll report, and we start down, this has all the elements of being a very significant top. I don't think it's worth staying long overnight to find out, because if you're right, you'll make money, but if you're wrong, you can get really hurt. We've had this day all week, and time's up tomorrow. Friday's pattern has the really high regardless of where we open. The non-farm payroll report comes out an hour before the open. It's usually a market mover. I can't predict the response to it with a sufficient degree of accuracy. I also have personal business tonight. I spent hardly any time on my analysis, so bear that in mind. But here we go anyway. Today's market had neither the rally into the close nor the straight line drop the daily pattern calls for. Tomorrow's open should rectify this deficiency. We should gap sharply at tomorrow's open. Now we gapped up, hit a higher high, but closed under midday highs. And if that's maintained at the open, that should lead to lower prices regardless of how we close. Now, timing systems of a friend of mine, of George Lindsay and Chris Carolan, all are compatible with a significant top here, and so is the wave count we showed today. Nothing is sure until we start down. We've had other times along this advance where time and price justified a drop, but there was no drop. And until we start down, it's always a risk in fighting the trend. But if we start down from here with a big F number from Chris Carolan, we have all we need for any drop to be significant. So I'm busy tonight, won't know what happens overnight. An hour before the open, we get the non-farm payroll report, and that's when I think the market shows its cards. It's the pattern with the early high, but just because it has the early high, that doesn't mean you won't gap down. I mean, it just means when the market trades, there's a high at a certain time. It doesn't tell us where you open. So we're going to see how we open tomorrow. We go up here, all is forgiven, but if we start down, this drop could have legs. If we start down, we should stay down for quite a bit. And that's today's call.